Alright, so I've had some time off lately because there's been loads of bank holidays for some reason. I have no idea why, so we'll do some more summoner school questions that literally nobody asked me to answer, but I'm going to answer them anyway. I've picked like just 4 random ones, but I'm going to do what I always do and just pick like 10 more as I go through, and then, yeah, we'll see how it goes. How's Jungle from Behind by Several Article 4318. I play mainly Nunu and struggle when I get behind so bad. My plan when I get behind is to stay in the jungle farm, track it reward, and only go into lanes if the enemy is right at a tower. Don't! We'll talk about this. Don't do this on Nunu. Don't. Okay, it feels hard to get back into the game. Enemy junglers invading me and taking my camps. How is this happening on Nunu? Team is getting argued because I'm not ganking. Mute them. Okay, feel like I'm missing something. Can anyone help me learn to jungle from behind? Especially if they have super aggro jungle like Shaco. What? I'm silver 4. I don't know if that's relevant. It is relevant. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk about this because you said some weird things in this post, but they're helpful because it makes me realize how you think about the game. So you've said a few things that make me realize this is the case. Essentially, from my point of view, this is essentially the question you're asking me. You know, I'll make an example out of it. You're asking me, how can I rob a bank and not go to jail? Well, you've robbed a fucking bank, man. Well, what do you mean, how can you rob a bank and not go to jail? You've robbed a fucking bank. You shouldn't be in the situation, and then you don't go to jail. The same thing is applying here. What do you mean you're behind on Nunu all the time? And obviously not all the time. I'd venture a guess as to you're not being invaded every single fucking game. But it seems common enough that you've felt the need to make a Reddit thread about it. So it must be happening a fair amount. You should not be behind on Nunu. You really shouldn't. And obviously, it's a very general thing to say, oh, you should be behind on any champion. But, being behind on, bot lane, for example, being behind on Caitlyn and being behind on Vayne are very fucking different things. I can understand if a Vayne is behind in lane. Caitlyn, not so much. This fucking guy shouldn't be behind. You're playing Caitlyn, for Christ's sake. The Vayne, yeah, you get a little bit of a pass. Same thing applies here. Now, I know this guy is probably already very confused. Why? Because he doesn't think of it that way. He doesn't think of Nunu as an aggressive jungler. Now, this is a very general statement, but generally, if you're playing an aggressive early game champion, you probably should not be fucking behind early game. But you don't think of it, or this guy does not think of Nunu as an aggressive champion. He doesn't, and I'll tell you why. Number 1, is that a wasp? Yeah, it is, but it's outside my window. Okay. This guy doesn't think of Nunu as an aggressive champion, which is what you're missing. Okay, Nunu is an aggressive champion. Understand this. Now, this guy might argue. I actually don't know if this guy will try and argue with that or not, but it doesn't matter because he's already told me he's not an aggressive champion. Especially if they have a super aggro jungle like Shaco. What do you mean? Why would you say, oh, I have a problem playing against super aggro junglers? You're playing a super aggro jungler. You're playing one. You're playing a more aggro jungler than Shaco. What do you mean you have a problem playing against super aggro junglers? You're playing a more aggro one. Yeah, sure, Shaco can take Ignite and maybe kill you. I don't fucking know. Nunu's pretty annoying to kill, by the way. Kind of. He's fast with his W. You can root with Z and run away, and he heals a shit ton. He's usually pretty healthy and is clear. So I don't know if Shaco can kill him or not. I don't care. But that's pretty much the only thing Shaco is more aggressive at doing is invading people because he can take Ignite. That's about fucking it, by the way. You know what Shaco can't do? Shaco can't pressure the whole map. Nobody is playing Shaco mid and taking one wave and then ganking bot lane at level 1. Nobody is doing that. Do you know why? It's because they do not have the ability to pressure the map like Nunu does. You know why Nunu has that ability? Because he's fucking aggressive. He's really aggressive. Way more aggressive than Shaco. It's like these champions are leagues apart. They're not similar remotely. That's one reason I think that you don't seem to understand that Nunu's an aggressive champion. And you're kind of confused as to why you're so fucking useless when you're behind. It's because you're playing an aggro champion and you're behind. Why are you getting behind, though? Well, it's difficult to see without the game specifically, but I have an idea. Now, do I talk about the litmus test? We'll do the litmus test after. My plan when I get behind is to stay in the jungle and farm. Try and keep it warded and only go into lanes if the enemy is right in the tower. This one I'll just get out of the way quickly. This, to me, just says you have fucking really, really bad idea of how to gank lanes, to be honest. This is a very silver thing. This is why it's helpful that you're silver 4, because this is exactly what a silver 4 player thinks. They think, I can only really gank a lane if they're pushed right into the tower. No, you can't. Because you don't really consider the abilities of fucking champions. You can look at the state of the wave, for example. If someone's built up a big fucking slow push, right, and it's about to crash into your top lane tower, you can fucking lane gank them. I mean, you can dive. Dives exist. I'll just get this out of the way. I won't spend too much time on this. Just This just to me says you have no idea how to gank. I'm not going to sit here explaining all the different ways you can gank. You can go look that up for yourself, but this is just weird. What I do want to cover more is this. Now, I've talked about this several times in the past. Just because you are farming camps does not mean you are getting back into the game. How efficiently are you farming the camps? Think about this. Every champion, the strength they have comes at a cost. Okay, Vayne's late game comes at the cost that she is low range, and in pretty much all matchups, or most of her matchups, she's piss weak early game. It comes at a cost. Nunu or Shaco, same fucking thing, pretty much. You know, yeah, sure, he can blow you the fuck up level 1 with Ignite or whatever, but he's pretty fucking useless late game compared to other champions. Nunu, Jarvan, Elise, these champions who have very strong early game ganks, comes at a cost. You know what the cost is? It's they're fucking useless late game. Or pretty fucking useless. They become CC bots, essentially. Their damage falls off like a truck, which is what you've described here. Nunu is that, okay? Just because you're farming a jungler Nunu doesn't mean shit, okay? You're putting yourself behind, is what I'm trying to say. Graves, Karthus, yeah, if they're behind, they can get AFK farm their jungle. You know why? Because they're going to scale much better, and they're going to be farming at a much faster rate than you. Everyone else in the game is farming as well. You need to remember this. Everyone else is farming. The laners are all farming more than you because they're laners. They will get more gold than you. That's just how lane works. And I don't know if the enemy jungler is farming faster than you. It doesn't really matter. But the point is, you're putting yourself behind by doing this. It doesn't work on Nunu. You can't do this. Not on Nunu. Instead, what you do, well, there's two things. If you get to this point where genuinely you just can't fucking gank any lanes anymore, I'm not even going to bother giving you advice because you've already fucked up monumentally. Okay, you shouldn't be behind in the first place as Nunu. You really shouldn't. But I can give you advice on how to avoid that, and that's gank more. Man, gank more. This sentence says to me is that you full clear all the time and you don't gank nearly enough. Go and watch a video of people playing Nunu mid in Challenger, or Masters, or Grandmasters, whatever. Go and watch a video, and this will teach you how fucking aged you can be with Nunu, okay? This champion's ganks are some of the most powerful in the whole goddamn game. You don't have to sit there farming the whole time. And if you do that, you won't find yourself in a situation where you can't gank a fucking lane anymore. The question you're asking is unreasonable, okay? It's as though you've asked me, how do I rob a bank and not go to jail? Well, you robbed a fucking bank, man. What do you mean, how do you rob a bank and go to jail? Don't rob the fucking bank. What do you mean, how do I jungle from behind on Nunu? You shouldn't be behind on Nunu. You should be ahead. If the question you asked was, I get loads of kills on Nunu, but I can't carry the game, that's so more reasonable. That's a much more reasonable question. It's understandable because, okay, you're playing Nunu correctly because you're getting a lot of kills, you're ganking a lot, but you can't carry? Easy fix. But this is the opposite. You're playing Nunu, it seems like the opposite of how you should be playing him. I won't spend time telling you how you can gank lanes and stuff like that. You can figure that out, frankly, because it would take way too long and I have to pull up a game or whatever, but you need to gank more, I think is the answer to your question. And then you won't find yourself in a situation, because if you get yourself into this situation, to be honest, it's too fucking late. The question you're asking, essentially, to summarize the question you're asking, shouldn't have to be answered, because you shouldn't ever get to this situation on Nunu. You shouldn't. You should be ahead. You're like, what? Yeah. I guess we'll leave it there. Okay, so I always say this, but this will be a fast one. It won't. I already know it won't. I'm wildly consistent in playing. How do I change that? As the title says, this is my biggest problem right now. I started playing February this year. I started playing ranks when I hit 30. Was placed in bronze 4, and here I remain. I'm first foremost as younger. I don't really play anything else. I think I got my micro down pretty good. Macro-wise, no, you don't. Sorry, no, you don't. Okay, you're on the Summoner School subreddit. You want to improve? Good. You don't have your micro down, and the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can improve. Macro-wise, I myself think I do too well, but no, you don't. Yeah, it's terrible. I think since I'm bronze, I'm probably running around like a dumb goose. Yes, you are. That is understating it. Your micro and your macro are both terrible. I'm sorry, but I want to help you improve. That is how you improve. It is terrible. I can go 22 in one game. Okay, so he either gets fed, feast or famine. Let's put it that way, feast or famine. Anyone got any advice? Okay. So a few things I want to point out, right? OPGG is Bull Moose if that's needed. That is a baller name. That's the first thing I want to say. That's a really cool name. I don't know why, it just sounds really cool. The second thing I want to point out. This is maybe the worst advice I have read or heard in my entire life. This is terrible. This is the worst comment I've ever read. Please disregard everything, every word this person said. How do you know it's specifically you're playing that's inconsistent? Because he's the only common factor in his fucking game, my friend. He's the only common factor. It's him. He is the one consistent thing in all these games is him. Okay? The score you get in your game depends on how good the enemy is. Does it? Really? So if let's suppose I put Faker and an Iron 4 player in the same team, and I put them against the same enemies, well, I mean, they should get the same score, right? Because it depends on how good the enemy is. It doesn't depend on how good he's playing. It depends on how good the enemy is. Bull fucking shit, it depends on how good the enemy is. No, it doesn't. Not when you're a Pistolo, no. You're playing a fucking Challenger, yeah, maybe. But realistically, no, it has nothing to do with how good the enemy is. How good did you play? Faker's score in that scenario has nothing to do with how good the enemy is. It's to do with how good he's playing. This is such a reflectionist, is that a word? It's just reflective. This sentence makes me think that this guy is Silver 4, and now he's on his high horse, and he's kind of salty, and he thinks Elo Hell exists. Shut up, man. What the fuck are you talking about? The circumstances that happen around the map, like what? What are you talking about, the circumstances that happen around the map? That's just vague and useless. It depends on your teammates and if they enabled you. No, it doesn't. So if Faker plays in bronze, he's not going to get a good score unless the enemy's bad and his teammates enable him? No. Faker enables himself. Like, what? What? The champions picked? Sure, maybe, I don't know. It's more like these variables that make your games different. Shut the fuck up, man. I'm sorry. This is just the worst thing I have. I'm sorry that I'm spending the majority of this question talking about how terrible this is, but I need you, the original poster, this guy, to understand how terrible of a mentality this is. Because I don't want you to fall in this rabbit hole. That's why I'm spending time talking about it. Because it is so bad. I'm scared that this bullshit has brushed off to you, okay? This is somewhat true. The latter half is somewhat true. You're just kind of fucking idiot. Anyway, so why are you so wildly inconsistent? Christ, sorry, I'm still going over that ridiculous comment. I have two theories. I'm not even going to waste my time looking at your OPGG. I brushed over it for like 5 seconds, but you started playing a game in February. I don't know how much you've played, because OPGG won't tell me how many normal games you played. I think it takes like 100 odd. I have one or two theories. One is that you haven't had enough time. When it comes to small stuff like trading or knowing when to gank a lane, etc., a lot of it does come down to the fact you need to know matchups, and to know matchups you need to know champions. I'm gonna guess that you don't know what the majority of the champions in the game fucking do, which is kind of an important thing. And to be honest, there's nothing you can do about that other than just play the fucking game. You need to know a fair amount of what each champion does, a fair amount of matchups, because you need to know things like, okay, you don't just gank a lane arbitrarily. Okay, you don't just say, oh, fuck it, I'll gank this lane. You have to plan it, right? You have to know, okay, level 4, I think I can gank this lane because I think this guy will engage. Or level 1, this guy's really, really strong. Or level 2, this matchup goes this way, so I will do this thing, right? You need to know matchups. And the only thing that's going to help you with that is just playing the fucking game. You don't need to play the game in a specific way, just play the fucking game, and then eventually you will learn. That's literally it. However, if that isn't the case, and it isn't anything to do with that, I suspect that is somewhat of a factor, by the way. It has to be. I mean, February is just not enough fucking time. It's not. Unless you've been playing a fuckload, it is just not enough time. There's like 150 champions in the game, man. But I have another theory, okay? My other theory is that you are doing exactly this. Exactly this. And this is exactly why you go 20-0. Because while you're running around as like a dumb goose, I'm just going to... This is the case, really. You're probably just arbitrarily ganking lanes, I think. You just see a guy in a lane, you're like, ah, fuck it, I'll go kill that guy. And it just works. Either it works or it doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, you just put yourself behind. And then you do it again, and oh shit, I've just done it again, and it didn't work, and now you put yourself behind. And you don't understand. The reason it's not consistent is because you're doing everything arbitrarily, right? You're not consistently playing because you're not actually making a decision. You're just leaving it up to chance, right? You're just guessing, right? It's like, fuck it, I'll gank this lane. Fuck it, I'll do this. That's why I suspect that you're so feast or famine, is because you're not actually making any conscious decisions. I really think that's the case. That mixed with the fact that I just don't think you've had enough time to play the game. I think maybe a little bit more about... I mean, just play the fucking game, number one, but I think maybe a little bit more about why you're doing things in the game, I think is the biggest thing you need to learn at this point. Why are you ganking this lane? Do you actually know why you're ganking this lane? Why are you killing this jungle camp? Because you should know that. Why am I killing this camp? Every camp you take should come with some strings attached. One of those strings is where am I going to go next? You should also have different plans for if certain things happen on the map. You should have some kind of idea of where you're going to path to, what side of the map you're going to. And if you are pathing to a side of the map, why? Why are you going to this side of the map and not this side of the map? Because there is a big fucking difference. And when you actually start thinking about these things, it's difficult to do. It's a lot of different things to focus on, which is why you just need to play the fucking game, to be honest. But once you start thinking about these things, I think you'll find much more consistent. Because the fact that you're just going 20 or 2 or 6 or 7 tells me that you basically just coin flip a bunch of things because you don't know what you're doing. And League is a very snowbally game. If you get ahead, then you tend to stay ahead, or it's very difficult to not get ahead, especially when you're playing in bronze and everyone's just fucking clueless. So then, what happens is, no, you're not playing a god all of a sudden. It's just that you're really fed. So all of these random plays you're doing will just fucking work because you're fed. So you will get more kills. And the opposite is the case here. Every single time you do one of these plays, you're putting yourself even further behind, so there's a lower chance of it happening. It's not that you're playing really good in some and really bad in the others, you're just flipping the fucking game, essentially. That's what I'd say, and again, this is the worst comment I've read in my entire life. Please do not listen to a fucking word. God, this was terrible. But yeah. Okay, I want all the goddamn arguments with this one. I will die on this goddamn hill with my take on this thread. One tricking versus high champion pool. Golden 98. Hey, 98 brother, what's up? I've been playing League off and on since Falcon's release. I stopped in 2019, last champion release, blah, 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 blah. I have 2,400 games in normals. Fuck me, man. Okay. The past 2 months I've been getting to ranked. I leveled up to 105. Okay. I have no idea what 105 is. This tells me nothing. I know how many games it takes to get to level 30, because that's when I can play ranked. I have no fucking clue how... I can't translate level into how many games you played, and I don't think anyone else can either. Currently in Silver 1, I've been Premise twice, and he went 0, 3, okay. And he sticks to Support Zillion. They stick to Support Zillion. Okay, this person is trying to switch up champs based on synergies and counters. Stop it. No, stop this right now. No, you don't do this, okay? I don't do this in Diamond. The only time I will actually give a fuck about what I'm picking in Diamond is if it actually is really troll for me to pick something. If it's... I am not going to pick Jax into fucking Malphite. Not gonna fucking do it. It's actual... unplayable. In that case, yeah, fuck it. If there's some unplayable Zillion matchup, yeah, maybe you don't. Maybe it's probably best not to. I don't know, Soraka, Leona, or some shit like that. But otherwise, don't care. No one cares about synergies. You're in Silver, man. It's just fucking irrelevant. If you're better at Zillion, just play fucking Zillion. How about that? I still stick to a fairly small pool. Soraka, Janna, Lux, okay, blah, blah, blah. Is it more effective to expand your pool of champs to be more versatile, or is sticking to one champ going to get you further? Okay. I will die on this goddamn hill with my take. I bet if I scroll through the comments, that I already know there is one somewhere. People are going to say things like, "Oh, you should play Annie and Malphite and Garen." And that works for some people, but the thing it's such a case by case basis. LS is famous for thinking everyone should play Annie, or some doper thinks everyone should play Swiss Fate. But it really, really does depend. It really does depend. In general, yes, if you one trick a champion, you will learn quite a lot about the game, but it's so dependent on the person. What about for your case, though? I think in your case it isn't beneficial for you to one trick champion. You know why? Because I think you're a really passive player. Why do I always tend to flame the passive players? I think you're a really fucking passive player. You know why? It's because this champion pool is like the most passive fucking champion pool I can possibly think of. Zillion, Soraka, Janna, Lux, Senna to some extent, I guess, not really. These are all very not even reactive. These are all sports that just do fucking nothing, really. They're very, very passive and safe, and they don't do anything. I think in your case, it would actually be worth it to play one of the more aggressive supports, solely because it will teach you more about these supports. It really, really will. If you go and play some games of Leona, right, and I don't know, fucking Nautilus or something, some really Rakan. Go play some Leona, go play some Rakan, play really, really aggressive every time you see any of these champions. This will teach you so much more about all of these champions and Zillion. If you play Leona into Zillion, if you're on the other side, it will teach you so much more than just continuously playing it from the Zillion. You need to play it from both sides of the matchup, okay? So in that sense, I think it's more beneficial to diversify rather than just stay in one fucking role. When you are in Silver, I would say yes, stay in the same fucking role. If you're in Silver, stay in the same role. When you have a little bit better fundamentals, when you can farm a little bit better and you're a little bit better at trading, then you can start to diversify. Because then at that point, I think it's usually around mid-platinum is when I usually start to say, okay, now you need to start playing other roles. Because you're being limited by the fact that you don't really know what the other roles want. It's not really the case in Silver, though. When it comes to Silver players, what's limiting you is probably that you're terrible at trading. You're awful at trading, probably. You have little to no idea of where you should be on the map and when. So in that case, yes, stick to the same role, but I wouldn't stick to the same role and the same champion. I think that's beneficial in Bronze, because, your fundamentals are just so fucking unbelievably bad that yeah, you need to stick to fucking Annie. Silver 1 though, I think you can get away with it. I think it's fine. Just stick to as long as you're sticking to the same role and not overcomplicating it by playing a million different roles, it's fine. That's what I'll answer your question though. I think play the same role, stick to the same role. But if you want to learn more about these champions here, it's probably beneficial to learn how to play aggressively, to learn how to play aggressive champions, because then you know what they can and can't do, and then you can adapt. Maybe you probably play, if you play against Leona, you probably play the whole laning phase fucking terrified because you don't actually know what Leona can and can't do. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you beat her level 4 or something if you're playing Janna, I don't fucking know. But you won't know that because you aren't playing those champions. You're playing Soraka, Janna, Lux, blah, blah, blah. And I know you have pointed out, by the way, you said, oh, I know the basic mechanics of most champions in general. I don't think you do. I really don't think you do. I could be wrong about this, but this champion pool to me says you don't. This champion pool to me says either for some reason you find these champions really fun, or you actually just have no fucking clue how to play the other champions. You probably don't find them fun because you don't know how to play them. That's a very pretentious thing to say, I admit. But even so, I think you'll benefit from playing the more aggressive supports just temporarily so that you can learn more about these ones. Okay, I actually did okay for time on the other one, so maybe I can do okay for this one as well. So, the top lane experience problem. After the jungler helped top lane to kill its enemy, is it good to help push the wave? I saw many different concepts there. Some people said it's good, some people said it's bad. He's basically asking, should I push the wave after I play top lane? Now, the answer to my last question, where I was talking about, if you should play other roles or not to learn more about your main role, this is the perfect example of when you should play another role to learn more about your main role. The thing is, the very fact that you asked this question and you think there's an actual answer to this question, there isn't. There is no answer to this question. But the fact that you think there is makes me know or think that you have no fucking clue how to manage a wave top in any lane. None. And you cannot get better at jungle. There will absolutely be a point where you just cannot improve anymore at jungle because you just don't know what you have no idea how to look at a wave and know what it means. The same way a support who plays support. I have a friend who plays support and he never learned how to farm, so he plays support because he doesn't have to learn to farm. However, he's always going to be limited on how good he can be at support because he doesn't know how the fuck to manage a wave. He can't help his AD carry farm at the tower. He doesn't know when he's supposed to push or help push or not. So I have to tell him. The same thing applies here. You need to go play. The answer to your question is there is no answer. Go and play fucking top lane, okay? Because there is no answer. Anyone who comments on this as a low elo top lane, even this guy gets it. This guy fucking gets it. Anyone who tries to tell you that there is an actual answer to this question is fucking wrong, okay? In general, I mean, even this is wrong. Most of the time, it is beneficial to push it out, but it is so goddamn dependent. Does Lena want to back? Does he want to back? Maybe not then. Where is the wave? How fucking big is the wave? Can he freeze? Can your laner freeze? Is that an option? Well, then you need to consider if he wants to freeze or not. Can he back? Does he need to back? Do you need to help him maybe thin the wave out or trim the wave a little bit because he wants to set up a freeze? Is he slow pushing? Does the enemy top laner have TP and he wants to continue building his slow push? There's so many factors. Like, there's no answer to this question. The only way you can find out the answer is you have to infer them yourself. It's a case-by-case basis. It's like you've gone to the doctor's office and you said, you asked the doctor, I have headaches. What's the problem? Well, what the fuck do you mean, what's the problem? How am I supposed to diagnose you? You have a headache. You can have a brain tumor, you can have diabetes, or you can have nothing. Like, what? It's just so... There's no answer. Go play top lane. A lot of top lane. It doesn't really matter too much the champion you play. Try and keep it simple, though. And just spam fucking games of top lane. And go and watch... Pro Guides has pretty good wave management videos. Just look at wave management videos. Go on YouTube, type wave management top lane. Top lane's the best lane to learn wave management for, I think. And then you'll be able to answer this question. Learn about what freezing is, what slow pushing is, when you should do them, what crashing a wave is. Learn about the actual mechanics of waves. Go into a custom game and experiment with how you manipulate the wave, right? See what happens when you push a wave to the tower. Watch what happens after it comes back. Okay, how fast does it come back? Try and do a slow push. Try and do a cheater recall, etc., etc. Go practice all these things, and that will answer your question. You can't get an answer to this question on Summoner School Subreddit. You can't. Okay, this will be my last one, but honestly, this is starting to turn into more me flaming people in the comment section than actually helping the original poster. However, I'm going to flame everyone in this comment section, and it's going to help this guy, because my god, my friend, Shiro OVM, please just disregard every fucking comment here. Like, Jesus goddamn Christ. Is it worth it to go out my way to learn how to play a mage bot lane? No, it's not. I don't even need to look at your rank. You asked this question, your rank's obvious. If I have 3 or 4 ADCs that I play for the big majority of games, but I have been questioning myself, is it worth to learn to play mage to fix my team comp? It's not your job to fix the team comp. I mean, maybe if your team is literally picked, like, maybe if there's if your last pick and there's a Rammus in the enemy team and a Malphite, and your team has picked, in order from top to bot, your team has picked, I don't know, like fucking Garen top, some AD jungler, Kha'Zix, Zed, and then your supports pick like fucking Senna. Yeah, maybe you have to play a fucking mage at that point because you just actually lost the game if you don't. That's the only time I would ever say, yeah, you need to fix your team comp here. But honestly, if that's the case, I'd still dodge anyway. It doesn't matter what AP champion you pick; it's not going to be enough. Other than that, though, you don't have to fix your team comp. And spending time learning how to play mages so you can fix your team comp it's a crutch. It's a waste of your time. You know what's a waste of your time? Because I'm pretty sure you're relatively low elo, and I think your time is much better spent on learning how to play a fucking game. Like, learn how to trade. I imagine your trading's pretty fucking bad. I don't know what it is you're bad at because there's nothing really to go for in this post. But learn the fucking game. This is a monumental waste of time. And the people in the comments say, "What the fuck is this, man? What is with people on this subreddit today?" Personal improvement, definitely. How the fuck does it help this guy? How the fuck does it help this guy to spend a bunch of time playing mage's bot lane so that in the one of 100 fucking games or whatever that he feels like he needs to pick a mage, he can pick a mage? When in reality, it probably made no goddamn difference, did it? Because the reason he lost the game or didn't lose the game is the fucking same. It's because his skill. What do you mean personal improvement? It's the opposite. He's wasting his time picking way more champions, learning way more champions, when he doesn't even know the ones he's playing in the first place. These 3-4 AD carries, you don't know how to play them, man. You don't. So why are you trying to learn more shit when you don't even know what it is? You don't even know how to play these ones. Learn these ones first, and then maybe, when you get a bit better, you rank up. Maybe, yeah, then. But this isn't personal. This is the opposite of personal improvement. IMO, it's really worth it. Some mages bring a lot of zone control and can turn choke points into graveyards. What do you mean, turn choke points into graveyards? A choke point is a graveyard. That's the purpose of a fucking choke point. What the fuck are you talking about? It feels like it's playing with ADC, play Cassiopeia, crazy DPS, Miasma as a play. Shut the fuck up, man. These are all just so goddamn useless. Learn Mage Bot, they're super good, and a lot of them common counters. Why does this guy have to care about counter picks? Like, what? He doesn't know the... You get the point. I can't believe how useless every single comment in this thread is. No, it's not worth it. Go and learn these 3 or 4 champions. You don't know them. If you think you do, you don't. I don't know, maybe post your OPGG, but yeah, no, it's not worth it. That's the answer. Okay, I can't handle any more comments, so that's all I'm going to do, because every single thread I go to, there's just the most ridiculous comments I've seen in my entire life. So I'll leave it there. But as always, if you're interested in my other videos, go check them out if you're satisfied with your answer or anything. And I do still offer coaching on... It's only on weekdays or weekends now. But if that's something you want, then you can DM me, and I will leave it there.